So you want to make jam? I get it. It's delicious after all. But did you know that you can make jam with almost any fruit? We all know the basic flavours of jam: strawberry, blackcurrant, raspberry. But what if I told you there was so much more opportunity that we're all missing out on? And you can make jam out of almost any fruit. And that's what we're going to do right now. I've got a couple of fruits with me today, so I can show you how to make a jam out of two different fruits, two very different textured fruits as well. And one of them is going to be a traditional strawberry jam. Now I know what you're thinking.
But this is the Fermentation Show.
Why are you making jams?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Not only do you preserve jam, which in my opinion is a lesser fermentation, but it goes so well with other fermented products, such as yogurts and sourdough toast. It's brilliant. Or if you want to get a little bit fancy, you can put it with your homemade cheese boards, with that cheese you fermented. No matter what it is, it will always be better with jam. So let's do this, shall we? First of all, you're going to need to choose what fruit you're going to be jamming up. I'd recommend staying simple for your first time and not being too adventurous, but things like cherries, blueberries, oranges, etc. will work just fine. You will need between 52 grams or 136 grams of sugar, or a quarter cup and a 2/3 cups of sugar. The sugar level can be raised or lowered depending on how sweet your fruit is. I'd recommend starting off with 52 or a quarter cup and tasting it as you go to see if it needs more sugar. I'll explain when you should be doing this a bit later. The first step is to make sure your fruit is ready for jamming, so peel them, remove their pits if they have them, and cut them into small pieces like so. After this, put that fruit in a mixing bowl, pour your sugar on top, and then just give it a good toss with your hands. That's right, you want to go all natural, so put your spoons away for now. It's important this is done because not only will this break down the fruit, it will also draw out any juices from the fruit. So please, 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 please do not miss this step. Once you've done this, you want to taste your fruit mix so far to see if it needs more sugar or not. This will change depending on the fruit you have, so the slightly sour ones might need more and the slightly sweeter ones might need less. But it's your say, you can decide how sweet you want yours, it's your choice. But just a quick warning, the less sugar that goes in, the less consistency you're going to get. So I know you health nuts out there are going to be wanting to put as little sugar as possible in there, but just know that doing this might ruin your jam. After this is done, you want to leave it for about 2 hours to let all the juices come out of the fruit. And yes, you can leave it overnight if you'd like. I'd recommend going for the 2 hours because to me that makes the fruit seem a little bit more fresh, but it really doesn't matter. Put your pan on the stove on high heat until your jam comes to a boil. Once your jam does come to a boil, you want to add some lemon juice or vinegar. Now I'd prefer to use lemon juice because it still stays a little bit more fruity and it's more of a pure ingredient. Now what I did with the strawberry jam is squeeze 2 lemons into it. This allows the pectins to come out and start solidifying your jam. Now it's important that you do add acid, because if you don't add acid, it will not turn to jam. And also, the lemon will drastically mellow the flavour of your jam. And trust me, this will make it better, I promise. After this, bring your stove down to a medium heat and stir frequently. You can use anything to mash it, but I'd recommend using a potato masher, as this will do the best job. You want to let your fruit simmer, because this is what's going to bring it to that solidified point. You need to let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then to see if it's at the right consistency, take a bit out and smear it onto a plate. See how the consistency is, and then if you're not happy with the consistency, let it simmer for a bit longer, another 5 to 10 minutes, and check again. Once you've got it at that consistency, put your jam into your jar and let it cool down. Now, once you've got the finished product, store it in the fridge and make sure you consume within a month. So that's how to make your own jam. Before this video ends, I just want to have a quick conversation with you. I hope that's all right. And it's about the official UK fermentation group. What's that, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Freshly Fermented have started a Facebook group about fermentation. The idea behind the group is to bring a community together and bind them by experts. If that makes sense. Not only does the Freshly Fermented team check into the group regularly, including Wesley, the owner of Freshly Fermented himself, but we also handpick our experts that have experienced knowledge. So so they can help you out with any issues you have about fermentation. It's a great place to share your ferments, gain inspiration, or seek any advice that you have about ferments when you need it. And on top of all of this, we host live events regularly, hosted by moi. In fact, we recently just had our first one, which was a fermentation pub quiz, where the winner managed to snag herself a free sourdough starter, courtesy of Freshly Fermented. And it's free. Anyone can join this group. Anyone can get involved in the community. So join this group if you want to share your fermentation experience or your fermentation journey with other people following that same journey. Sometimes you might need help, and there's no shame in that. I'll put the link in the description for the Facebook group. But that's all from me today. I hope you liked this episode, and if you did, please leave a big like on this video. I really appreciate it. And if you never want to miss an episode of the Fermentation Show, maybe subscribe. And to be updated whenever we upload a post, make sure you hit that bell notification as well. We're trying to hit 150 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's a big number, but any help towards that would be greatly appreciated. So if you could do that, if you do like our show and you don't hate me, please consider subscribing. But yeah, like I said, that's all from me. Happy jamming and have a good evening.